Support for this podcast comes from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative, connecting communities with the resources, infrastructure, and networks to ensure a vibrant local free press.
From KVPR in Fresno, this is Central Valley Daily. Happy Friday, it's October 18th. I'm Elizabeth Arkalian. Coming up, Filipinos in the city of Delano have a storied past, which includes helping kick off what is today's modern farm worker labor movement.
The mostly Filipino AWOC voted to go on strike for better wages, and the Filipinos walked off the fields.
We'll hear more about that history and the festival that celebrates the Filipino community's deep ties to Delano. But first, today's headlines. 2 sisters were killed when a driver crashed into their home in southeast Fresno. The crash happened on Wednesday night as deputies tried to stop a gang member who'd fled the scene of a disturbance in an SUV. They say he sped away from deputies and crashed into a home where the 2 women were inside. The Fresno County Sheriff held a press conference on Thursday to announce the driver, 18-year-old Adam Canales, is being charged with vehicular manslaughter and evading police. The sisters were 18 and 25 years old. A faculty group at Clovis Unified has to disband following criticism that it's acting as a union. The news website Fresno Land reports the state's Public Employment Relations Board upheld a ruling to dissolve the district's faculty senate. The board found the group violated laws by giving group members stipends. Clovis Unified is the largest school district in the state without an official teachers union. The school district can appeal this decision. Californians will vote on 10 statewide ballot propositions this fall. Last week and this week, we've brought you all of them so you can make an informed choice. The final one in our series is Proposition 2. It would allow California to borrow $10 billion through a state bond to pay for updates to school facilities. Carolyn Jones with Cal Matters has this explainer.
If Prop 2 passes, it would pay for repairs and upgrades at thousands of K-12 schools and community colleges across California. Research shows that nearly 40% of California students attend schools that don't meet the state's minimum safety standards. That means everything from leaky roofs and peeling paint to broken air conditioners and other hazards. The state school repair fund, which hasn't been replenished since 2016, is now nearly empty. And local and state bonds like Prop 2 are the sole source of money for the fund. Supporters say this money is crucial to fixing California's crumbling schools. Opponents say the state should make school repairs a part of its regular budget instead of depending on taxpayers.
That was Carolyn Jones with our California newsroom partner, Cal Matters. A large share of voters in some of California's critical swing districts are Latino, and a new poll by the Latino Community Foundation and BSP Research shows that many of them support Democratic candidates. Nearly 60% of voters in Congressional District 22 are Latino, compared to 50% of those in District 13. Both are House races in the San Joaquin Valley currently represented by Republicans. The poll found some of the top issues for Latino voters who were surveyed include cost of living, housing, and the economy. This weekend, get ready to enjoy some of the Valley's local beers. KVPR's Crescencio Rodriguez Delgado tells us about a gathering in Fresno celebrating the brewery scene.
On Saturday, breweries will gather for the first ever Central Valley Brewers Fest. The inaugural festival is featuring only local breweries, about 23 of them. Most of the brewers are from Fresno, but others are coming from Visalia, Hanford, Madera, and even Oakhurst. The event is being put on by the nonprofit Central Valley Brewers Guild. Organizers say the event is meant to deepen the craft beer scene in the valley. It will take place at Eaton Plaza next to the Fresno Water Tower in downtown. You will need a ticket to get in, but organizers say if you are the designated driver, you get in for free, though you must be accompanied by a paying ticket holder. For KVPR News, I'm Crescencio Rodriguez Delgado.
That event will be from noon to 4 p.m.
Support for Central Valley Daily comes from Fresno Mazda, a member of the Prieto Automotive family, celebrating the grand opening of the newly renovated showroom on Thursday, October 24th. This all-ages event features live music, refreshments, and a gift for the first 100 guests. myfresnomazda.com.
And now to our main story. For the first time in 5 years, Philippine Weekend is returning to Delano. According to census estimates, 14% of Delano's population identifies as Asian, and Filipinos represent not just a sizable part of that population, but a significant part of the town's history. Filipinos helped launch the modern farm worker union movement alongside Cesar Chavez. Philippine Festival was held for decades before a brief hiatus. It's a celebration of all things Filipino culture. There's pageants, an adobo cook-off, singing contest, and basketball tournaments. Nicole Villaruz is a committee member for Philippine Weekend and joins me now. Hey, Nicole.
Hello.
So first I wanted to ask, being part of the committee and helping to organize this event, what is it that drives you all to help put this together?
I think it's the love of our culture and the love of our community. I'm very fortunate that I was able to grow up with Philippine Weekend, being that I'm 45 years old and the weekend started in 1974. I've always grown up with Philippine Weekend every single year. The different events, the different reunions that happen, people coming home to Delano to celebrate the weekend, to celebrate our culture, and to share our culture with not only the Delano community, but the entire Kern County, the state of California. Lots of people come to Delano for Philippine Weekend.
Some might not be aware of Delano's strong ties with Filipino culture. Can you give us an idea of what originally brought some Filipinos to Delano and the surrounding areas?
Yes, so I think talking about how Filipinos kind of started settling in Delano and the Central Valley is telling my grandfather's story. So my grandfather first came to the United States at the age of 18, and he came as a farm worker. And he joined cousins that had already come before him, and there were cousins and townmates from the same place in the Philippines where he grew up that also joined him later on. And there was a sense of community there. And if there's one thing that you know about Filipinos, there is a strong bond of community. Filipinos will take care of other Filipinos and find each other in the community. And Delano was really a central part of where a lot of Filipinos decided to lay down roots.
In 1965, so shortly thereafter, Filipinos played a critical role in kickstarting the farm workers' labor movement with the Delano grape strike and boycott. Can you tell us a little bit more about that history?
Absolutely. So on September 8th, 1965, the mostly Filipino AWOC, which was the Agricultural Workers Organizing Committee, led by Larry Itliong, voted to go on strike for better wages. And the Filipinos walked off the fields. They voted and they walked off the fields to start a strike. And later on, Larry Itliong went to Cesar Chavez, who was the leader of the National Farm Workers Association, which I think was NFWA at the time, and asked their Mexican farm workers, their members, to join them in the strike. Because back then, if the Filipinos went on strike, then the farmers would just call the Mexicans to go work, and then vice versa. And at this point, in 1965, Larry looked at a lot of Filipino farm workers who were older. These men had been working for decades for some of these farmers already. And they were getting older, and they said, if we're really going to make a difference, we have to join together because we can't do it on our own. And 8 days later, on September 16th, Cesar Chavez's group voted to join the strike that the Filipinos started on September 8th. And that will go down in history as the birth of the United Farm Workers.
After the strike and boycott in 1965, how since have Filipinos continued to contribute to Delano and the region?
So I think with a lot of them settling in Delano and laying down roots, they created families and a real sense of community. The Filipino community of Delano has always been active and participated in the city and in local, activities. And it's also grown, with immigration. How it works is, once you have family here, you're able to petition and get more family here. And so a lot of Filipino families have joined other family members that came before them, which has created a real strong community for Delano.
As I mentioned earlier, one of the many events you'll be putting on this weekend is an adobo cook-off. Tell us more about this popular dish in the Philippines.
So I think a great part of the Philippine culture is how much we share our food. You cannot go to a Filipino's house and visit and leave hungry. We very much have a sense of caring for one another and sharing. Whether it's our food, whether it's our clothes, whether it's our home, we want people to feel comfortable. We want people to feel welcome. And adobo is, I think, one of our best dishes to share because it doesn't take a lot of ingredients and it can be made with different kinds of meat, but the love and the care that Filipinos put into all of their dishes and especially sharing their adobo. It's our way of expressing our culture and how much we care about the people we are sharing our food with.
Nicole Villaruz, a committee member for Delano's Philippine Weekend Festival. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Philippine Weekend festivities kick off tonight and go through Sunday. And that does it for today's show. Thanks for listening. Today's episode was produced by Jonathan Linden and KVPR with support from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative. I'm Elizabeth Arkalian. Find the latest local news anytime at kvpr.org.